Hello everyone, it's Fluffy, and I'm back with another video of my live league. This is another game I do my stalling strategy, and before I begin, I would like to say I don't like Luxios, I don't like Flak, I don't like Joker, I don't like fighting against Nell. Sonya's the exception. But I went with Jess because, well, she's probably the most, aside from Jake, she's probably the most stalliest CO in Tier 4. Jake would probably do just as well, but there's plenty of roads and forests and cities everywhere that make it difficult to use Jake on this map, in my opinion. So I decided to pick Jess instead. I start with my 2 infantry and goes for the neutral base, makes sense. I go for this turn 1 capture. This one base has a lot of properties to capture, so I'm going to do my best to shift the responsibility onto my neutral base, but sometimes that's just not going to happen. I built a day 3 recon because I want to harass. Then again, I probably shouldn't, because I'm supposed to be stalling. I moved my infantry in a way that this infantry could go for this, while this infantry here could go for the neutral property by this mountain. And if the recon approaches, I could always pull this infantry back to this city, and this infantry can go for the airport instead. So that's how I move my infantry around. I don't quite remember what I choose to do, but well, I definitely sit on this because I'm out of the mech range. Oh yeah, so I do go back and I go for the airport. And this is where I save up for a tank, I believe. He takes this shot because it's free. And I'm thinking maybe I can try trapping the recon. I could go infantries blocking these tiles, effectively trapping the recon, and then my tank comes in at the next turn. But I don't think it works out well. I leave this city because double mech can't exactly fight mechs with recons. Well, I can, but I'm just going to lose my recon. He completely interrupts this capture, and I didn't sit on this property to stop his infantry from going on it. And I built an artillery to try to lock down this comm tower while I maybe hold this one. I don't think I can. Oh right, I didn't get a second tank here, so there's no point in trapping the recon. The recon takes a shot, and this infantry gets the luck roll to kill it, which is... I mean, it is a Jess infantry, but I still prefer to keep things alive if I can. I take the shot because... get rid of that recon. My tank isn't going to die, so I might as well do it. My recon goes up, maybe I can shift it towards the center, if possible, since I don't want to fight into these mechs with my recons. Built a second tank here. And he takes the shot, which makes sense. I mean, it's right there. And then he traps my tank by doing this, but it's not really a trap because my infantry can attack from the city, then the other infantry can clear it. But then if I do clear this to save my tank, he gets the comm tower. Which, if I'm being honest, I don't think this comm tower is worth fighting for. I think it's better I go for the other comm tower on the other side of the map. I get this clear because I want to clear infantry. I don't want these infantry getting a lot of luck rolls during the power turns. Oh, so I attack this direction, and I think I have to build a mech here. That's the only way this makes sense. I build a copter. Now, just copters are a little weaker, and their main strength is the ability to attack tanks without taking too much counterattack damage. The problem is, this idea doesn't work so well against Flak because he's a Luxio. Luxios don't care about unit composite, like which units are fighting. At least luck damage doesn't count. That doesn't. Bleh. Luck doesn't care about the units, they just care about whatever the dice roll is. He interrupts my capture, which I find very annoying. He surrounds my comm tower so I can't interrupt it. So I decide, okay, I'll just let it go and try to go for this comm tower instead. He interrupts this comm tower, but it's within artillery range. I wanted to get rid of more infantry. He only has one tank so far. He can't stop all of my recons. I get rid of that infantry, and then take a shot here. And fortunately, mechs cannot walk into the artilleries within one turn. He's not Adder, so that's a plus of fighting Flak instead of Adder. But I still prefer fighting Adder simply because I don't have to deal with luck damage. I like teching up, I like my expensive units. I built a double mech here. Seeing these mountains, Adder might not be a bad choice here. I mean, you can really control this area with mechs. And copters. This recon survives, but it doesn't really matter because it can't get away. And it's surrounded by luck-infused infantry, which means it can die at any moment. I take a shot at this recon, plop it onto a city so that maybe the tank won't kill it. But he does have 4 tanks in an anti-air in the area compared to my... Well, I guess if I move all my tanks up there, it would also be 4. I begin capturing my comm tower, placing my artillery in such a way that I can be as close as possible without being threatened. I build an anti-air of my own to respond to his copter. He starts breaking this pipe seam, which I do agree with. I should start breaking my pipe seam, but it feels like I was being forced to invest a lot into this comm tower. He then sends this tank here, which I don't like. He's really forcing me to divide my forces, either to go here or in the center. So breaking this pipe seam would help a lot in controlling this area, because I can more easily front shift. The heavy forests and the mountains otherwise make it really hard to shift. And I don't know why I did this, but I definitely should have sent more tanks down here than the pipe seam. For some reason, this move here makes no sense, because there's no way I have the vehicles to defend this city. And I realized after the fact that because of this forest, my tank can't loop around onto this city. But that's not even the main issue here. The main issue is this artillery is not adequately defended. I would need another tank from this base. and I didn't build that other tank from this base. Which is not good. This tank strikes here, and an infantry strikes this artillery. I think what I was thinking is artillery can strike pipe seam and pop it open, and then my tanks can come rolling in, but that's not going to happen with a 1 HP artillery. He also strikes over here, even attacking my mech on the mountain, but then again, I am a Jess, so my mechs are slightly weaker. But yeah, these two tanks, they weren't doing anything, and one of them shot at the pipe seam, but the other one 100% needs to reinforce the bottom side. I decide to take this shot, and might as well take another mech shot, not like my 1 HP mech can do anything. I fly over the mountain after... I believe this is a roll, since my infantry is weaker. But I got it, and my copter was able to fly over the mountain. Not that it matters much, because he has his power, which means he can just luck the copter away. And with all these mechs and tanks here, definitely... Why did I attack here? Well, it happened. Don't quite remember what I was doing. But I built more anti-air. I guess anti-air is extra powerful against these mechs and all these copters. But I would also like another tank here. So... a nice 5 in a row. Never mind, it's no longer 5 in a row. I go for this tank strike because I'm on the mountain. And here comes a power turn, I believe. There it is, brute force. He's using his normal power, not the super. And I think that's like a normal roll here. This was not a good roll on his end, but that one definitely... Is it a good roll or is that average? I'm not sure actually. This tank strike, it's okay. The anti-air, it's okay again. Not the best rolls on his end. So I'm not... Also not the best roll. The infantry here definitely is, but everything else seemed to be pretty average. Well, that means I have my power. Do I attack back? And I don't think I do, because I'm going for my stall strategy. I want to capture this city, anti-air this mech, get it out of here, artillery fire at the pipe seam. I really want to break it open. And I believe I chose not to go for my super because this tank still will not have a target. And if I send in this tank, well, he has 3 tanks and 3 copters in the middle. I shouldn't be sending stuff in when I only have 2 vehicles nearby. It got a copter, I can replace it. So, I tried to build a new defense line, artillery covering this tile, and my other artillery covering this tile, so these 2 tiles are locked down with artillery. And now we have the stall game. Of course, I lose my anti-air. Pink copter was enough. Okay. That must have been a high row. He continues popping open this pipe seam. I adequately defend this city. He fires at my infantry, but fortunately all of them are at full HP, so he can't break through. And I get this property. I send my infantry. I know I counterattack this infantry, so this infantry is chipped. So I knew my 1 HP would delay this capture just for another turn. I try to centralize my forces, and back to the stall game. He has both these center properties, but I have both these side properties, so we should be... No wait, we're not even in income. He also has these properties beside the mountains. His copters managed to fly all the way to the other side. Copters are pretty strong over here because of all these mountains. You know, maybe I should have picked Adder now that I think about it. With strong copters and a potentially strong mech base, Adder doesn't seem that too bad of an option. But stalling is fun, so I choose to stall. And now we play the waiting game. He manages to win this property. I get a mech shot, but a property is a property, and it would be pretty hard for me to get it back. Unless I send in a tank and a mech and hope I get enough damage to kill it, which I probably will, since my tank will heal up to 9. I go for that shot. I fire with the tank first because it has to attack from a location. That means it's probably going to die anyway, and I was able to save that capture. I place my artillery in such a way it blocks one of the attacking directions, and I otherwise move everything else forward with more mechs. We start having a brawl over here. Fortunately, I'm on the mountain. And now I start seeing this city is getting threatened. He kills off my tank, but I'm fine with that because that means this mech will get a shot. So mech shot, pew! And then I move my artillery completely onto the city. It's well protected by the mechs, so I'm sure it's fine. By just mechs. I clear this infantry onto the city, and I move my recon onto the comm tower, hoping that no tank just one-shots it. I have several tanks here. Thanks to the horrible forest terrain, I can't exactly move forward that well, but I do have my super, so that does compensate for the restricted movement. I shuffle my tanks around to try to heal up any damage. Tank goes in, and now he sits on the mountain, meaning it's very hard for me to defend this city without just diving in there. Yes, he now has 2 copters to the left, so that means I must shift 2 anti-airs to the left. I clear some infantry here and shift my tanks closer as if I'm preparing to defend this. I don't think it's worth defending this because I just don't have the infantry nearby to interrupt. But I am amassing more vehicles. So note that it's almost day 20 and I still have not used my power or superpower yet. It's almost as if I'm playing Hawk against Sasha in that sense, where you just don't get any powers for 20 turns. But this is just me willingly choosing not to use it because I want to stall. And it looks like I'm losing this city because it looks way too costly to try to jump into artillery range with all those mechs so close to their base. So I just take the shot since it's outside of artillery range, and then place an artillery here of my own. I pretty much do nothing up here other than build more stuff from this base. The copter destroys the artillery, which is not what I had in mind, because I didn't cover. Well, if I use my super, I will get the copter, but that means I can't wall break into this area because one of the tiles are blocked. Oh, there goes that artillery. I injure the infantry so that he can't just capture this in one turn, well, in 2 turns. I then prepare a shift to the right because I'm confident that I can retake the city. If I just have the infantry nearby, I'm sure I can. And then he goes in with his medium tanks. He didn't quite kill this artillery because luck, but he can easily do so by sending something else down here. And he pulls back a little now that he has the city. I decide to go for this city instead and shift a lot of stuff forward. I move my Neo tank into position, ready to start using the super. He's not capturing the city yet, so I don't feel obligated to use a super. I built an artillery because I don't think he can break through the mechs to get to the artillery. I do base lock myself for a turn, but sometimes killing or doing damage is more important than just getting unit count. He goes in, gets this kill, doesn't get the recon. I don't think it was very likely he got the recon. He starts injuring a lot of the infantry, but otherwise pulls everything else back. He clears with a medium tank, clears with another medium tank, and now this infantry can capture the city with the medium tanks blocking the capture. 5 medium tanks up here. And now I'm thinking, alright, I want to save the city. He also moves some vehicles in. I think it might be time to use a super. So I do. It's day 23 when I finally use my first power. My artillery gets an... We'll look at the artillery later. I move my infantry down, join it, so that I have a healthy infantry ready to capture this city. Recon goes, kills this infantry. Tank kills this infantry. The tank is all the way at the base. It doesn't have a lot of targets. And I have other vehicles. I then fire at this medium tank with my artillery. Copter. Mech kills this tank. Neo tank one-shots this medium tank. Tank fires upon this this medium tank. Saves my properties. I have the movement to clear the comm tower and then clear the anti-air. Not that clearing the anti-air would do much, but it might force him to use his copters on my copters. At least it would if he also didn't have his power, which means his infantry can clear the copter. My tank goes in, clears the mech. My tank goes in, clears an infantry. Tanks are pretty good at clearing foot soldiers on low terrain during the power turns. And I send my anti-air onto this mech. Now, I sent the anti-air onto this mech, and I think that's fine. But what I should have done over here, and this is the part where I should have been more careful with my anti-air, is I should have sent my tank to attack from the more forward property. So these two positions should have been switched. because now this anti-air is very exposed, and I'm dealing with... There's only one copter, but that copter can do a lot if there's no anti-air. So, anti-air is strong and can clear a lot of stuff, but this was definitely the wrong position. I should try to keep my anti-air alive. He counterattacks with his superpower, the Barbaric Blow. Let's see the luck. Artillery one-shots this tank, which I believe was very lucky. Tank. I think this is average. This was probably a very low luck. Infantry, however, did quite a lot. I think it's almost max luck row there. Mech one-shots the anti-air, which I was like, what? Infantry saves his property, so now this infantry can go clear this tank instead. And then I lose this anti-air, which is something I should have kept alive. This copter goes in, one-shots my copter, that was lucky of them. Drops this anti-air to 1 HP, drops this anti-air to 3 HP, which, this one was a good luck roll, but I was fortunate to survive. Medium tank clears off my tank over here. Well, the copter did not get lucky with my Neo tank, but the medium tank, well, that's what happens when you send one Neo tank to fight 5 medium tanks. A series of approximately neutral luck over here happens, but while the luck wasn't that devastating, losing the anti-airs was what really made this battle much more difficult than it needed to be. My artillery can fire, I send my copters in. At this point it's day 24, I'm thinking of playing the capture as many properties as I can before the day limit, so it does not matter if I don't build from this base, because right now properties are more important for the day limit victory. Neo tank, kill the medium tank, kill the capturing infantry, anti-air, do your thing. That copter's lucky counterattack. It's always scary attacking into a luck CO when they can counterattack with luck damage. I send my tanks in thinking I still have better tanks, so I might as well use them. Not getting this kill was definitely pretty big, because this artillery would be very annoying. And now it means these two tanks do not have a target to attack. So I ended up joining them to try to keep some tanks healthy. Rocket fires at this infantry, saving the city for now. Copter continues doing damage where my anti-air isn't. Did I really just move my anti-air here? At the very least, move it onto the city. I don't even know why I moved it into this forest. Medium tank starts rolling through. Not that it has anything to fear. And this infantry here is preparing to capture more properties. But it's fine. I'm only behind a few properties. I could potentially gain this property and maybe these two properties and maybe stop this property. That's my battle plan right now. So I use another super. The thing about stalling and having this many units is that when you finally start to brawl, you get your supers very quickly. I go in, kill the copter. Probably should have attacked from the road instead, so that I can continue attacking into this base. I definitely need to start attacking into this base if I want to really secure this property. My recon doesn't quite get this kill, but my tank kills the artillery. 3 HP recon, go! Get a nice tank strike over here. I trap this tank. I try to do as much damage as I possibly can, and then injure this infantry. Then sit on this property with my 1 HP copter, and I built a bomber. Because... well, something's gotta try to save this city. He joint cap for this, so interrupting would not be able to stop it. But that means I can still go for a draw. Rocket moves up instead of firing because it doesn't have to. And he builds a second rocket, meaning none of these 3 cities would fall now because of the double rocket. He clears the tiles, able to take my city up here. And now he just has to wall it off for the next 2 turns. So, because my anti-air is on this plains instead of this road tile, it cannot reach this copter, which is very sad. If it could reach this copter, I could probably get away with... I could send this tank to clear the mech, recon to clear the tank, anti-air to clear the copter, and tank to strike the rocket. And because I'm just a rocket, I don't remember the damage calcs, but it probably dies, or just gets reduced to 1 or 2. I don't remember. But it would have made capturing these cities much easier. Unfortunately, it didn't go that way. Bomber striked this medium tank, didn't quite get the kill because just moment. Managed to get this city. So now I really just need 2 more properties. Seeing that I can't fight into this rocket right now, I decide maybe it's better to start shifting towards the center. Maybe I can win this city, and I might still win... no, this city looks lost, but I can force a rocket to fire here. Uses a brute force again, using the normal power. Copter gets this kill, which was, I think this was lucky. And here's the part where he starts focusing down infantry, and it makes sense because we're at day 26 out of 30. We're at the day limit. Artillery locks onto this city, so this city is now safe. And medium tank blocks off the bomber from doing bomber things. This city is lost no matter what, because this is walled and I have nothing to interrupt it this turn. So I start going for this city. But if I'm being honest, this city is the only thing I could possibly take. And going for anything else would be way extending into enemy territory. This city over here is blocked by the rocket still, so at this point only 2 more cities would be flipped in this game. I'll take this one, he'll take that one, and the day limit would say since he has 2 more properties, which is the equivalent of 1 city flip, he wins at the end of the day limit. The stalling plan did not work. Well, I believe it could have worked, I just needed to not lose both my effectively 4 anti-airs on this one turn. These 2 anti-airs were put out of commission, and these 2 were just straight up dead. And then it's just small things here and there. I don't think it would have changed the match all that much. Well, yeah, I don't think it would have changed the match all that much. These 2 rockets will probably still succeed in stopping this infantry. If anything, having these 2 rockets here and being able to break through into them probably means he just sacks everything to save these 2 cities. Well, and this one, I suppose. But, yeah, that was this game. I don't like Luxios, mostly because I want big units, and big units tend to be shredded by luck. That was this game. Next game would also be a very stall game because I pretty much only play stall. Don't know what game it would be yet, but yeah. Goodbye. Goodbye.